Okay, we're going to look at the setup for the projectile. This is the entity that will be fired from the craft to destroy what other elements that are coming down the screen. The first thing to do is we're going to create a new actor blueprint and we're going to call it projectile BP. I've already created one here, but I'll show you the process. Dead easy. Inside your blueprint folder, right click, go to blueprint class and select the actor, and obviously call it projectile underscore BP. I'm going to open up my example and I'm going to go to the viewport. If I go to the right view, so the front view, just go to unlit. So let's just have a look at how this is composed. Okay, the first thing that we've got a collider. This is important because we need a way to detect when the laser or whatever projectile you've fired comes into contact with another actor. It doesn't need to be complicated. We're going to use a spherical collider as a component. To add a component, if you just go to add and go sphere, you can see sphere collision. That's what we want, and that's created it there. The other thing that we need is we need the sprite. Now this can be animated, so it could be a flipbook or it could be a basic sprite. If I select my sprite, you can see this is an animated sprite that I've created, just like when you created your craft. The sprite itself shouldn't have any collision on it, so with the sprite selected, if you scroll down, make sure that it's got no collision. Go back to the collider, the sphere collider. If we look down, we look at collision. Make sure the collision preset is trigger, and make sure generate overlap events is ticked. This way, when this sphere overlaps the asteroid or the object that it needs to destroy, it'll be detected. The last thing that we need is we need a way to make this move. And there's a neat little component called projectile movement. You can find it in the components. If you type in projectile, you can see projectile movement. This is the component that will make this actor move as soon as this laser has been activated, or this projectile has been activated. If we select it, there's lots of information, but we only need to alter a few things. The first thing is initial speed and maximum speed need to be 0. And very importantly, make sure projectile gravity scale is set to 0. By default, it'll be set to 1. If you don't change that, the projectile will be influenced by gravity, by the physics engine, and we don't want that in this instance. It's in space. Okay, so make sure that's 0. The next thing, we need to give it a velocity. So we scroll down and you'll see velocity. Now if you think about it, velocity could be in different directions. We've got X, Y and Z. If you look at the 2D game, the blue axis point represents the Z axis. So that's the direction, the positive direction we wanted to go. We wanted to go in that direction. So if we go back to the projectile, you can see I put an arbitrary figure of 50 units for the velocity. You can change this amount to make the projectile go fast or slower. Okay, so that's all you need to do for the projectile to set that up. Okay, so the next part is I'll show you how to spawn the projectile when we press the space bar. for the firing from the craft.